Welcome. The Collective is here for your information, knowledge, and love. What we ask of you is to sit and listen. Listen to the vibration, the frequency of each word, of each understanding. It is this frequency that all are connected to. The words that you hear are processed through your human thinking. But where the depth of the understanding, the teachings, the healings comes from is the vibration, the frequency of those words. So allow yourself to sit now and connect to this frequency. This aspect of a existence and what you are to do within it. One would say their purpose. What is it in their purpose that they must do? Or for those that have found their purpose, what more can I do? How do I align more for myself? How do I bring forth more? What is it in the aspect of more that you're trying to achieve? Whether it is your purpose that you feel as if you're already on, or you're seeking your purpose, but yet there's always more, this aspect of more. Where does the aspect of more come from? Is this an aspect of your higher self guiding you down a path of more? Is this your human framework, your human thinking, seeking more? These are all questions that many contemplate through their existence, their time here as a human, whether it is in the multiple lives that they've lived or waiting for the lives that they've yet to be lived. There's this itch, there's this expectation, there's this side of oneself that always wants more. But what does that look like? Where is it that you must place yourself to understand what more is? Because there can be too much of more in your existence that you're not ready for. Where is it that you place yourself? For those that work in the energetic, work within the etheric, bring forth clients before them, what is enough? How many clients are enough? More clients or more depth? What do you seek? For those that just have a journey for their existence here, they don't work within the etheric or the energy, they don't see clients in front of themselves, but yet they live a life connected to all things. They understand this connectedness, and they are on this path, this journey, this purpose in their life. And two, they seek more. More of what? More of a journey that puts them in places that they don't wish to be? More of a journey that is a bit difficult and challenging? Or more of an existence that is calm, peaceful, without turmoil? So you see, no matter how you look at the word more in your existence, there is a level at which it becomes uncomfortable. For if you are the practitioner that works with clients in this energetic realm, and you wish to have more, and more is thrust upon you, clients that are lined up out the door, where's the time for self? For you have evacuated your space of your existence because now you're giving it to everyone else. If you're just on this journey of understanding and purpose, and you want more of this peaceful, non-turbulent life, and more of it is presented to you where everything is just in its place. Yes, that will be comfortable for some time. But just like anything else, that existence too needs a bit of disruption to keep you looking down your path. For if everything becomes, as you understand it, complacent, you will not be seeking any further for your purpose as it is right in front of you. You will not be seeking those opportunities to grow or learn because you are comfortable. Or if it is something that a path in which you want a higher expectation for yourself, but yet there are struggles along the way. More is coming at you, and the struggles are greater and greater, but yet that isn't quite what you perceived it to be. So you have to understand this expectation of more. No matter what circumstance you are in, there can be too much of something that you expect to be good. But then many would question this expectation of more, of what is enough. Enough is when you, no matter your journey, no matter what you do, enough is when you feel just in balance with everything. There's a peace, a harmony, a synchronization with all things around you. Yes, it may sway back and forth, but you feel yourself being in balance. That's enough. You may not have $1 million in the bank, or the shiny new car, or 1 million clients, or the perfect job, but yet you feel as if there's just an equalization. Everything is just in its place, and you're okay. That is enough. So do not confuse wanting more with having enough. This is where many find themselves, struggling with the understanding of more. What is more? That is an internal question. That is something the humanness deciphers for oneself. But it is all of the energetic alignments, all of the placement with you in the universe that understands what is enough and that balance within it. If you have questions, please begin.
Thank you so much for your presence this evening. And you're right, many of us have contemplated this idea of more. And related to that, many metaphysical practitioners specifically are feeling a lack of clients and a financial struggle recently. Can you speak to that? Some of us are feeling that our sources of income have all of a sudden stalled, which is unusual. Or is there some lesson or some guidance, something we need to know about the energy or something we're missing?
Do not look upon this particular situation as something that it is of your doing. That you must adjust and shift what you are doing. To the contrary, be steadfast in what you are doing. There's no need to gain a new certificate. There's no need to go and learn something new just because you feel as if this is what is needed. Now is the time to remain steady. Steady with the understanding that this is not of your doing. To have a greater understanding of where this process is evolving, there are a number of factors. One must understand the journey that all have been on in the most recent past. There have been many struggles in the most recent past with most of humanity. And when it is a time of struggle, a time of chaos, a time of unsettledness, many seek. Many seek different things. Many attend churches. Many attend different activities. Many find themselves seeking something greater within themselves. And that is why many of you have had a robust expression of clients throughout time up to this point. But what you're approaching is a point at which there is no looking back, no memory of, forgetfulness of what just took place within the human framework. Life is once again being restored to normal, going about daily activities as they once did, and their focus shifts away from what they've just learned, what they've just sought, back to this place of humanness. And in that, many are perceiving it as being brought inward. You would call it cocooning. It isn't a cocooning, but it is this aspect that there is a life to be lived, but not one to be expressive or one to seek out. There will be the clients for you. That will be a given. They may not be as steady or as fulfilling as they once were, but it is to stay steady. And yes, it may be challenging financially for you. This is an aspect of the humanness that needs to be addressed. For if it is a point at which it is difficult, for you see, this then gets into your expectation of abundance. And many understand this aspect of abundance within one's life, as it has been expressed by many. It is this understanding of having exactly what you need, exactly when it is. It comes just at the moment you need it. It may not be a client, but it may be in another means. And it is just at the appropriate time that it is needed. But it is to understand, if the humanness needs to explore activities outside of what you are doing, then that is the humanness to address. Allow yourself to be guided in many different directions. You are now reaching a point of, shall it be said in a certain way, you're reaching a point of a bit of freedom. Freedom in what you are capable of doing. For in the past, you were, if you wish to look upon it, burdened by a number of clients more than you expected, kept you busy, focused on that, not yourself, and now you have the freedom to focus on self. You have the freedom to open yourself and explore different things, but not for your practice, not for what you do, but for your humanness. And if that is something that then, if you need to have another stream of income, then allow yourself to take that journey. Do not be hindered by this is what is meant for me to do. This meant for me to do is not a hard, fast expression of self. You have to remain fluid in all things. Many of you have been guided from an existence into this existence. It isn't an existence that is structured like the corporations that many of you have left. There's freedom. There's flexibility. There's openness. So it is to come to the understanding that just because the clients are not in front of you, the universe is turned on you. The universe has pulled clients from you. No. Contrary. Many things are lining up so you can gain some freedom to have for yourself and enjoy the human aspects of self. It has been expressed in the past to find time to play, be childlike. How many have gone out and been the child? How many have gone out to play? Or how many have taken that knowledge, but yet still remain an adult because you have adult things to do? So yes, these are challenging times no matter how you look at it. But much of society, much of the humans are forgetting the past to go and enjoy their life now. And so they forget about the things that brought them joy then, should be bringing them joy now, but they're finding alternatives to that joy. They'll be back because they'll realize what seeds have been planted in the past by what you have provided to them begin to sprout and grow during these times of play and enjoyment in their humanness, because that in itself is an area of energy that they enter into that allows expression for themselves. That is the ripe ground to grow. That's when they'll come back. That's when they'll begin seeking again, because they'll remember what was planted. But your time now is to enjoy and allow yourself to be guided in whatever direction you need, but stay fast and steady with your work. No need for any additional certificates, no need for any additional training, no need for any additional things to fill your box for your practice.
Fantastic. Thank you. Very helpful. So the week of July 4th, that also encompassed the 7-7 gateway, was extremely intense for many, with heart pain, which we interpret as heart expansion, but it was pretty challenging. Can you tell us energetically what was going on that week?
From an energetic perspective, an energetic overlay, it was a convergence of multiple streams of galactic energy, solar energy, welling up from Mother Earth. It was a convergence of a number of different energy streams that blanketed the planet. This is why many felt extremely uncomfortable during this period. This is an attenuation factor for the human body. These are going to increase as you progress in time. This progression is moving towards your ascension point. These are periods in which more and more will converge. More and more energy streams are going to converge, whether they are from within, whether they are from external of your planet. Not just one or two will converge, but multiples. Many that haven't converged in millennia, They are converging once again. These are preparatory steps for the human existence to attenuate all of that energy, because it's only going to amplify in the future. So yes, many will feel extremely exhausted. Many will feel expansiveness within the chest. Many will feel as if their joints and their muscular and skeletal systems are about to explode. These are all expressions of these convergence. You have to understand the way the convergence take place for each individual. Each individual, you have to understand, has their own primary frequency. This is your resonating point. And dependent upon how many converge near you, that is the amplification that you will receive. Someone right next to you may not be feeling exactly what you are feeling, because their base frequency is much different to the lines or to the expressions of energies that are converging near you. But yet, they start to experience it differently, because there are different lines and different energy streams that are converging near them. So it is mostly an individualized expression of energy convergence for the attenuation of energies for the physical body. This is an ongoing process.
Thank you for that. Very informative. And so Judy is still navigating a great deal of pain and grief. Is there any specific message or words of advice for her, please?
The discomforts themselves that you are processing. This is the physical expression of the emotion of grief. This is an expressive emotion. This is an emotion that must continue to be expressed. The difficulty in expressing this grief and the layers of grief, it is not to compartmentalize it all in one aspect of grief. You understand the different factors, the different layers, but it isn't to compartmentalize it in one space. It is to break it apart, bit by bit, layer by layer, separate it by distance energetically, then address each one specifically and allow the grief emotion to be expressed. However that is for your physical body to express it and purge it. But understand the depth of what you are expressing is not just tied to this realm, it is tied to what has taken place in the past, and you have a clear open window to the past and understand how it is layered equally the same throughout the past. So each layer needs to be expressed. Layers here, layers in the past, but individually, not as one. And this is a difficult aspect for self. Self wants to take it all on at once and get rid of it. All on at once and purge it. Clear and free so it no longer exists. But when that takes place, there is a recycling that takes place because of the layering. Visualize each layer that needs to be addressed. If it is all together at once, and you begin to purge that emotion, you begin to purge here at the bottom, but yet there's still at the top that needs to be addressed. And as you begin to purge here, this begins to amplify, cycle in. You begin a recycling of energies that continue a flow, and it never feels as if it fully is purged, because it is doing an action of recycling itself. This is why separation, space energetically between the layers of understanding what needs to be addressed at that particular layer and purge it by itself.
Very helpful. Thank you for that advice. Sandy is curious if she integrates into her family's lineage, as you mentioned last month. Will this accelerate and upgrade their souls? How does it benefit her ancestors and her lineage for her to do that.
This integration portion is amplifying, yes, and it is amplifying for future generations. This does not negate contractual alignments within one specific cycle, one specific existence. By integrating into a soul family or into a soul alignment, this integration is an amplifying factor and will, yes, downstream amplify for a clear path of existence, a clear path of understanding, a clear path of teaching, healing. No matter how you want to look at what the future is, it is that has been aligned, amplified, and has been cleared. But again, it does not take away from what is contractually aligned for that existence, for those existences. Those are still needing to be fulfilled accordingly, but they will be aligned differently. If there is trauma that is connected to an individual that you are now aligned to, amplifying, if there is trauma that is within that individual because it is contractually agreed that there's going to be trauma in that existence, it will still be there. But what it looks like is much different. If the alignment wasn't there, it'd be expressed extreme. It would be a difficult life and a difficult challenge within a life, this trauma. But because you are integrating into it, this soul alignment, it lessens it, because the amplification energies of the soul alignment are surrounding that trauma so that it can be perceived a bit differently, can be attenuated a bit differently, can be mitigated a bit differently. So that is what is needed to be understood. No matter how aligned you are downstream, there are contractual agreements that must be fulfilled, but they take on a different aspect.
Oh, very good to know. Thank you for that. Can you tell Jessica what her primary galactic alignment is and her source cluster, please?
Primary alignment is Lyran. Source cluster is Palladian.
Wonderful, thank you. And also, Samantha C. would like to know what her daughter Maddie's primary galactic alignment is and her source cluster.
Primary Arcturian. Source Orion.
Wonderful. And can you tell Samantha if she and Maddie have shared past lives, please? Or is there a significant one, if so?
There have been a number of lives that have been joined together, but not as not in a family aspect, but acquaintances along the way. They have been paired together, friends, if it were, but short-term, short-lived. There is one specific life, one specific life back in your time frame of the realm of the Egyptians. The daughter in this life is expressed as a great high priestess. And her sister is the mother in this aspect, is the sister in this aspect. The sister was continually learning from the high priestess. The sister was continually understanding what it is that needs to be done. The doer, the high priestess, allowed the sister to move forward and express herself accordingly to the world around because of what she has learned from the high priestess. Here in this life, this is the lessons that are beginning to formulate. The daughter in this life has much to teach the mother. And it is just now that the ears are ready to listen. This will become more expressive because this line is quite strong.
Fascinating. Thank you. Diane has been estranged from her daughters for some time. What does she need to understand about this?
For it is this understanding of being estranged from your child, to understand it in a number of different aspects. One being the contractual alignments that have been agreed upon. That is where you sit now. This many understand, but yet still have a very difficult time comprehending. Why would I make, or why would they make, why would we make contractual agreements that at some point during our expressive existence that we would separate and no longer have contact? That's one aspect. The answer will come. The other is to understand the energy that you are expressing by remaining in a place in which you hold this understanding, this notion, this alignment to being estranged from your child. That formulation of energy that surrounds you, that encompasses you, that in itself begins to broadcast out a barrier, a buffer, a zone around you that then perpetuates like a pebble being dropped into a pond. It begins to reverberate across the surface, and on and on and on it goes. If there's no shore, that ripple will continue. Here too, this energy that is being put towards this expression is rippling out. And it will continue to ripple out as long as you hold to that understanding of energy, of wondering why, how could this happen, what could have I done, where should I go with this, I don't understand how to clear this from me. All of the expressions of understanding, it's still the same. It's creating this ripple out from the center of your being. So it is this understanding to now bring those ripples back. Allow yourself to reach out as far as you can with your energy and pull all of it back. Right here, into the center, into the core, into the heart space. And understand that this contract that all have agreed upon is one for growth, is one for strengthening. For you see, as difficult as it is on your human framework that you have separation from your children, no matter how it took place, no matter the circumstances, yes, it may have been difficult, and yes, there may have been some understandings that neither agreed with, but that's the human aspect. That's the human brain filling in the pieces. But in reality, this alignment was purposeful, not so much for their growth, but for your expansiveness. But for your expansiveness in what you understand, in how you perceive the world around you. But when you perceive it through the ripples that have been cascading out, it always looks the same. There's something I could have done. There's something I should have done. I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should have done this. Because each one of those ripples comes from here. Each ripple is represented as a thought on out. When you bring all of it back here into your heart space, now you can readdress it. And thank it. Thank you for allowing me to have this agreement, no matter how painful it is physically, emotionally, in my human framework. I give it the gratitude it deserves because this is a point for me to grow. For me to grow energetically, me to grow and expand in my heart-centeredness. With unconditional love towards all aspects of what took place. And when you do that, now instead of it being a ripple of memories and thoughts going out, now you begin to radiate your true essence. The true divine self that is you. It takes the place of the ripples. You begin to shine, you begin to glow, you begin to emanate a field of energy around you that changes all that is around you. The world around you, the encounters. But also in doing so, you begin to change the vibrational connections you have with the children. And that in turn begins their vibrational change. There will be a point of reconciliation in the future. That is there. But the vibrational field needs to change here first.
Thank you very much for that helpful information. Naomi has a question, and she's wondering what she needs to know about her current living situation, concerns about her roommate, herself, and her dog, or the dog Yeti's health and safety. What does she need to know about this, please?
For what has been aligned in this expectation of existence, it is to be readdressed. What is it that is in place? Where is it that you see yourself? For you have to understand this, again, this alignment. What was the purpose? Why was this purposefully aligned for this period of time at this particular point? For you see, here too, more? Was there a need for more? More of what? More of a relationship? Or more of strength? You have to understand this aspect of strength. Sometimes, when one expects more in a relationship, or more in a circumstance, more in an opportunity, what they're seeking more of is their own strength, standing upon a foundation that has already been built. But yet, you feel as if it is an uneasy foundation. It doesn't feel as if it is quite as strong as it is, but it's stronger than you believe it is. That strength is already you. You have the strength to take on the universe, but yet the humanness feels as if it needs more more of something. More of a relationship, more of an opportunity, more of... There are many blank spots that can be filled with more of something. But it's all, when you look now deeply to the core of self, it's the strength of discernment, the strength of one's resolve, the strength of a warrior that can take on anything. So, if it were to be the answer that you're seeking, move away tomorrow to this location at this particular time with this particular dog and do these particular things. Are you willing to accept that? Or is it a choice that the humanist needs to make through the strength that you already have, the resolve that you already have? See, this is the complex interaction between one's divine alignment, one's divine strength, and their humanness. Many times we feel as if we've been led astray. If not, you're following an alignment that was already in place. You're following a contractual alignment of how it is to be played out. And it needs to be played out so you recognize specific things within your field of energy. This, in this case, is that true divine strength that you've always had, but now's the time to utilize it. It is that resolve you have of knowing what is appropriate. Answers can always be given, but with answers given, there's no details of how the answers came unless you make the decisions from within. That you're capable of. But many times, your ears do not want to follow.
Thank you very much for that. Elaine senses there's a message for her this evening. What does she need to know, please?
This path that is opening before you, this path that you are seeing down, do not begin to close it off. Do not begin to question it. Do not allow your normal process to block, shield, close off this path that is in front of you, this point of journey that is in front of you. Your humanness is going to question every aspect of what is laid out in front of you. Yes, there is a decision point much further down this path, but that is not to be addressed now. What is to be addressed now is that intuition. You know the answer of why this path is in front of you. You know the answers that have already been played out. But yet, trust. You have the strength to do all that is in front of you. You have the strength to move forward and do all things, but yet it is the trust that builds a door on that path. The trust builds the door, locks it tight, puts the bolt through it, and wishes that it wasn't there. This is an inevitable path. It doesn't matter if you've built a door in front of it. That door will remain. But yet, the trust needs to grow. For you see, this relationship that is building and this path that is growing, this is inevitable. There's no hiding from it. You understood this from the beginning. You understood this alignment and this path that was put before you. But now is the time to trust. Trust in a way that you just breathe a bit lighter. You don't have to be anxious about what you're trusting. And allow that door to swing open. And just journey through the door comfortably, relaxed, without anticipation, without anxiety, without fear. And understand what is going to grow beyond that. Then the decision that lies before you will be much easier to discern. But right now it is this first step. This trusting. This trusting and allowing yourself to relax and enjoy these next steps.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. So Marcia feels aligned to Tachyon energy, but a Tachyon chamber itself is quite far away from her location. What can she do to utilize Tachyon energy in her own office space, please?
For the Tachyon energy is all around. The Pleiadians have encircled the planet in this energetic field. Think of it as a light snowfall, each flake being a particle, and just drifting down upon the planet. It's just everywhere. But at any point, you can begin to build a grid, energetically pulling together different grid lines to place a grid at your location. That in itself begins to funnel these energies, these particles, the tachyon particles, funneling them into a particular location. And at that point, you may not have built a chamber, but you've built a portal of sorts or a vortex of sorts of tachyon energies to be utilized, to amplify, to heal, to open, to enlighten any that enter within. It isn't something you can manipulate, but it is something you can bring together and allow it to be funneled into one specific location. The tachyon chambers themselves are, shall it be said, galactically aligned, meaning those individuals that have created the tachyon chambers have been guided in a way to place certain objects to amplify what grid system has been overlaid in that location and holding it more sustained. But if you're bringing it in just at a point for use, for yourself or others, it will be just as effective. It may need tuning, it may need adjusting, but you'll sense into that aspect. The first portion of it, though, is sensing the energetic lines that are around you and bringing them together, close proximity, allowing them to overlay one another like a grid. This grid is the amplification process to draw in those particles, to begin this vortex or portal of sorts to bring forth those particles for your experience.
Fantastic, thank you. So there's been this interesting phenomena that started in about 2020 where whales are seemingly attacking boats. There were about 15 of these human orca incidences in 2020 alone, and they've increased. Many of them include orcas biting or striking the rudders of sailboats. What can you tell us is going on in this circumstance, please?
This expression from, shall it be understood, the whale collective. For you have to understand this communication process that takes place amongst all sea life. You understand how you can have a collective of consciousness communicating as one, whether that's through human telepathy or any other expression of thought that is combined. For the communication that has taken place amongst the consciousness of the whales, dolphins, mammals of the sea, they would be, you would say, acting as a hive mindset. Why would they be doing this? Primarily, they are protecting their species from elimination. Though this particular group will not be eliminated, they are taking on the role of protector for the other larger mammals that are being, the word is, harvested by nefarious means. They understand what is taking place. They are acting in retaliation. Though they cannot strike and deter the larger vessels, they can strike and deter smaller vessels, privately owned vessels. This is to bring awareness to the fact that there is distress amongst the mammal population. So it is to understand that they are the protectorate for these that are being harvested. And they are trying to communicate by means of, as you say, attacking. But this is their way of showing, we are here to provide you a message that you must stop. But many do not understand that message because this isn't communication in any other form than being destructive. But if many witness it, there will be those that begin to understand there is something that is off amongst the species.
Very distressing. Thank you for that. What can we do to assist, please?
Provide as much as you wish. Provide as much energy, thought, heart-centeredness as you wish. For you see, what the human species is doing to the sea life has been going on and on and on for eras. But it will not sustain that. The more you can bring awareness to what is taking place, the more that you can bring awareness to those that then can be effective in changing, that is where many need to draw their focus to. Yes, supporting energetically is purposeful. Yes, supporting consciously is purposeful. But it is to bring awareness. Allow yourself to find the human means, human understanding, the human means of transferring that understanding.
Thank you. And who was answering that? Was that still the collective?
It was the mammal collective of your oceans and seas.
Thank you. Please know that many of us do support and love you and appreciate your role on our planet.
We understand that.
Before we close, is there a final message from the collective?
This journey that you are all on, each individually, but yet collectively, it is a human thing, it is a human nature to want more. Sit. Address that in yourself. What is it that you need more of? What is it in your expression of your humanness that you need more of? And do you actually need more of it? Then, sit. Sit in your fullness. Sit in the expression of your divine fullness. And bring forth the essence of fullness. This expression of enough. And see how that aligns with wanting more. And what you will find, what many will find, that there is enough. You have enough. You live with enough. And then it is to be at peace with having enough. That isn't to say that you're not going to be overly abundant. That comes in many different forms. But it is to say that you have enough. And at this time, during these times, that is all you need, is enough. Then it is to understand your humanness and enjoy these portions, these times of allowing to be expressive in your humanness, being that child and being playful.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much for being present this evening.
As always, the collective is here for your information, knowledge, and love.